Welcome back to the Be a Force podcast, brought to you by B Squared Management. I'm your host, Melissa Lopez, and on today's episode, I have with me Davina Ware, and we're going to talk about, okay, you may or may not be comfortable with this, but we are. We're going to talk about how you can move into your purpose, 90 days to make a career change, whether that's quitting or even just, changing the trajectory of your current career. So we're going to talk all about that. Davina's got such great advice. I can't wait to talk to her about it. Davina, how are you?
I am wonderful today. Thanks for having me.
Great. Oh my goodness. Okay. So during these times, I feel like we have to dive right in because I feel like I have so many questions for you. So during these times, so many people are reevaluating their careers. They don't know where to start, what's next, should they continue going? And, it feels like life is standing still and we don't know what to do. And it's given us a lot of time to think. So I'd love to know for you,
Oh
I
no,
know
did
this
I lose
happened.
you?
I'd love to know, you did this prior to COVID, but I'd love to know what led you to this place where now you're coaching us on how we can make these changes.
Oh yeah. The main thing was, I graduated from college and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and I'm going to conquer the world and my degree is just going to be my key into any door that I want to walk through. But the reality was it was not.
Yes.
I graduated in the middle of the housing market crash of 2008.
Okay.
So that had already shifted the economy at that point. So now you have people, so I got my bachelor's degree, great, but we have master's degrees people that are looking for jobs. So who do you think is the priority for hiring?
Right.
And so
Right.
I faced a lot of that. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not what I planned for. So it was just kind of like, well, I'm not in school anymore. I can't keep deferring things. So I've got to get a job. And I just had to take what I could get, really. Most of my colleagues who graduated at the same time as me, it was really take what you can get. I don't want to say scraping at the bottom of the barrel, but to a degree. So it was survival for a while. And then when I started to realize, okay, I really don't like doing this, to the point where I'm miserable. I'm getting up to do this because I like, light and heat and shelter.
And electricity and, the basics, a car,
Just the
housing.
basics. Exactly. But outside of that, I'm like, I can't see myself doing this for 40 years. I will go nuts. So then I started to explore other things. Well, let me try this kind of job. Let me try this kind of environment. Let me try working in the suburbs instead of the city. I was playing with all of these different variables. And I'm like, no, none of this is working. What is going on? So I finally started to take some inner inventory and figure out what matters to me and realize that no, I didn't have to be subject to what was going on in the economy, but that I had a say so in being happy about my work every day. So taking that stance and then taking that inner inventory and assessing what matches with who I am and my gifts and my skills and my talents, I was able to get out of that rut of job baggage, as I call it, and job misery, to find something where I'm being recognized for who I am, what I can do, and where I have say so into what is happening for the company as a whole. So I got beat up a bit, but then I realized that there's lots of other people that are still getting beat up out here in the job market, and it doesn't have to be so. So my pastor said once that your stumble should be someone else's shortcut. So me becoming a career coach is to be a shortcut for other people struggling in the career space.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. What a great quote that is. And a great mantra to live by, that your stumble should be someone else's shortcut, because I've had plenty of stumbles. I'm over here thinking about, let me think, how many stumbles could I let people how many
That's a good one.
I got a lot of shortcuts. Just ask. Just
Right.
ask.
Which one do I pick?
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Right?
So I think that that's beautiful. And to be honest with you, one of the things that I find very fascinating and I think special and important about what you're doing too is that, you're a woman of color. And I think that as a woman of color, we always are put in this position. Well, let me not say always, we are often put in a position
Yeah.
where it's almost like we don't get shortcuts, right? And you have to work and you have to do this and you have to suck it up and
Oh
you
my
have to take this
goodness.
job that you
Yes.
hate and you have to be miserable, but you got to suck it up and you can't complain. And and it's tough. And to have someone like be able to show us and other women who may be in situations that you were in previously, that like, oh no, I got shortcuts for you, honey, let's do this, and to band together is beautiful. And I'm a big believer in supporting each other as humans, one, as women, two,
Yeah.
and as a woman of color, three. So, I just, I'm all about that. And I think what you're doing is awesome. So I would love to know, let's say somebody is in a position where they are ready to like, I hate my job. I need to get out of here, especially right now. They're in
Mhm.
a situation where they're like, I can't do this forever. How do I get out? What would you say is step one to starting to figure out, like, how do they get out?
That's so funny that you ask that because a friend of mine tagged me in someone's post. One of her friends on Facebook was like, "How do I professionally leave my job now?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, she's ready." So the very first thing I say is not the thing that people often want to hear, which
Okay.
is, okay, go through the emotion that you're feeling right now. Ride that wave. Either something happened or you hit your breaking point and you're like, I have got to go, right?
Right.
But realistically, it's a process. So I first tell people, let the smoke clear, vent, go running, exercise, do what you need to do to come to a place of like normalcy and peace. And then look at your situation as a whole. What is it that's causing your discomfort? Is it your boss? Is it you're not being challenged at work? Is it your commute? You have to identify what it is that's bothering you, because in some cases, it may be some growth work that needs to happen on your part, as
Mm,
opposed to, okay, I need to get a new job. Because that's
right.
how we spawn all of these job hoppers, right? And not to down job hoppers, because I've been one of them. But the thing that is the constant with whatever job you go to is you. So if you're throwing a temper tantrum, you best believe that'll happen when you transition. And then I hate to see people do that because then they get discouraged. Like, I left this job and now I came to this one and it's a different shell, but it's still the same problems. And then people just give up hope that they can find something where they can be happy. But that first step is to let the smoke clear, let your emotions die down, and then look at this as a whole. What is going on? Did you just have a bad day? And for us women, well, are you PMSing? Sometimes people have quit jobs over PMSing.
I hate admitting that, but right, it could be
I
that.
know. I know, I had to finally swallow that and say, oh, yeah, it's probably that. And that's okay, but identify it so that you don't make any permanent changes based on temporary feelings.
Yes, my mom always told me that. You don't want to make a permanent
Yeah.
decision based on temporary emotions. My mom has always
Yeah.
taught me that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. It's important. It's important. Okay. So that's good. So we have to do that. Okay, what else do you think we need to like focus on? Like not just as women, but well, as a woman, of course I want to know that. But but once we let the smoke clear, um, now what?
The second thing is to assess yourself. Like, okay, this is what's bothering me, this is what's working, and this is what's not working. A lot of times we focus on what's not working and we run with it, but if that's all you see, that's all you'll attract, and that's all you'll look at
Mhm.
when you're looking at other jobs. And this is what keeps people in that cycle. But look at what's working and what's not working from an objective standpoint, so you can say, you know what, I don't like working for a large company. I feel like I'm getting lost in the shuffle. My ideas aren't being heard, etc. Okay, great. So now you can say, when I'm moving forward and looking for my new job, I know to look for something smaller. So assessing, you know what, I do a lot of data entry and I don't like that. So I need to be more hands-on. I need to be doing more project management work. I need more face time with people so that you have an idea of what to look for in the next thing. Because a lot of times we know what we've done, and then we use that and compare that to a job description and say, I can do this, and then apply for it. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should be.
Right.
So my whole goal and my mantra is to get people on purpose. And so when you're in a career on purpose, it doesn't feel so taxing on your
Right.
life, on your energy, and some of these other aspects of life where it's sucking out your joy.
Right.
But part of you finding a career on purpose is also knowing what it is that you're good at, what's your purpose.
Yeah, and
And
what you want to do.
yes, what lights you up? How can you best serve other people? Those are clues to your purpose. And that also tells you, okay, well, I really like working with young adults. Okay, then you can find an organization that supports young adults. But
Right.
we have to take that inventory and I'm going to tell you, it's not always a pretty process because
Yeah.
it involves digging a little bit, digging deep to say, oh, I'm a little bratty about X, and so this is a growth opportunity for me. Or, okay, do I mind commuting for the right opportunity? It's like dating in a way,
Oh,
right? Where you evaluate, okay,
girl, that's the worst
these are my, absolute no's. This is what I can
yeah.
tolerate. And these are, my non-negotiables. And this is like what I have to have.
Yes,
It's the
yes,
same thing
yeah.
when looking for a career. We separate those elements, but they shouldn't be. These kinds of evaluations apply across the board.
Okay, and I know I said I hate dating. I do hate dating. I really do.
Oh my
But it's the
gosh.
worst. To me, it's like one of the worst things ever. But anyways,
Right? Can you just knock on my door and be the
like
right one?
a
God.
legit, can someone just like, hey, thank you? That like, can someone just be like, hey, so we're perfect together? And I'd be like, oh God, thank you.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Can we
Let's
take all the rest of this out of here,
Yeah,
please?
let's have babies tomorrow. Like, come on.
Please.
But that aside, when it comes to career, though, I love the way you did say it. That you said it is like dating, and I recently learned this. So funny that you're saying this because I just recently, in the last few months, learned this because during COVID, I was thinking, I have another job that I do. And I was feeling like it was time for me to move on, but I really wanted to take the time off to really think about, like, what do I want to do? How do I want to do it? Do I want to continue this? Do I want to continue with this company? I mean, what do I want to do? There were so many things to think about. And I came across something that said, when you go to a job interview, it's not just about them interviewing you, it's you interviewing them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was a game changer for me. And fortunately, I ended up with a new position that I absolutely love. And it was so
Great.
what I needed, but I didn't know that I needed it. I didn't know. And so what you're
Yeah.
saying is so beautiful and it's so important. So I'd love if you could share, like, for someone who's interviewing for a new career, whether it's you're transitioning to a totally different career from where you were, or even in the same career, but maybe you're going to a new establishment,
Hmm.
or a new business, or maybe you're starting business for yourself and you're trying to bring people in. How do we, in a professional way, as you mentioned before, also interview our employer?
Great question. And we do a little bit of this work, and well, we do a lot of this work in the 90-day career fix where we determine what kind of environment you need to work within. So part of that goes back to what I was saying before about taking the inventory, because it starts with environment. then to determine what kind of leadership style works best for you. So once you know what works for you, then you can ask those questions of the
Okay.
employer. So when they
Okay.
reach out to you for that initial phone interview, so there's the HR people that are reaching out to you, first level, second level is normally the hiring manager.
Yeah.
You should have those questions that give you those answers before you even start. In an interview, I always ask, so what's the team dynamic? And it throws them
Oh,
off
good one.
every time.
Good one.
But and I look at their responses. I look to see if they relax. I look at their body language to see, oh, well, our team is really fun and we support each other. I'm looking for how you're responding to it. I'm looking at your vocal inflection. I'm looking at your body language, because if you're super stiff about it, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like too type A for me in this kind of work
Mm.
environment. Yeah.
That's a
So
good
it's
point. I
important
never
to
thought
ask.
about that. Never thought about that.
Mhm. Yeah, because I've in times where I'm like, I need to get the heck out of here. I go back to see, I did notice in an interview this person's disposition. And that's how it rolled out when I started the job. So that made me more mindful that
Mm-hmm.
I need to be looking at these other things. But again, we need to approach our careers as if it starts with us. Everything starts with you and what's going to work well for you, and then everything else comes under that. But I'm glad that you were able to understand the dynamic of, you are not at the employer's will. You get to ask them questions, because even though
Yeah.
you've made it this far in the process to have a face-to-face or a Zoom to Zoom
Yeah. Yeah.
interview, you need to know, do you like this person?
Yeah.
If it's the hiring manager, is something about them is off to you? I mean, think about it, evaluate it, pray on it, or whatever, but don't throw that away, because you'll have to work with them. And so
Yeah. I like how you say like, yeah. Can you I get
yeah.
that. I get that.
Hmm.
And I will be on and to be honest, and I've been in situations where in retrospect, I have had questions asked of me where in the moment something seemed off, but I just was like, I just need a job, so I'm gonna just let it go.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna let it
Yep.
go. And I accepted positions where then it ended up being disastrous for me. Like I was just emotionally miserable and I couldn't do it. And it was hard. It created a lot of issues for me. And I know what that's like, but then I also know what it's like to be in positions where you're just so happy. And even when
Yeah.
with every position, with every I mean, there's ups and downs, there's ebbs and flows with life. So of course you're gonna have good days and bad days. That's normal. um
Yep.
but can we move forward? Is this generally speaking a healthy space for me? And I think that that's very, very, very important. Now, I saw on your website, you don't even know how like relevant. Sorry to go back. You don't even know how relevant this is to me right now. But so on your website, you've got different blog posts, and one of them that really stood out to me was like how to shine when working from home, because there's so many of us working from home right now, and
Yeah.
it feels sometimes, for people who are very extroverted, it feels like very isolating and you feel like you can't quite get your point
Yes.
across.
It's
And
stifling a bit. Yeah.
yeah, and for certain careers, it's better to be in person. Than it's easier. You can communicate easier
Hmm.
in person, not just as an individual, but for a certain career type. So how do we shine from home?
The first thing is the visual. Some companies allow people to shut off their cameras so that, in case they're in their robe still at 2 o'clock in a meeting, that they can do that. But for those of us who have that luxury, I would say still turn on your camera and
Oh,
still show up waist high, presentable, because just that shows the effort, and
Okay.
subconsciously that tells people something. So if you show up and you have a little lip gloss on and you have a nice shirt, like, everyone is taking note of the fact that you made an effort. So
Okay.
that puts you in their mind when things come up, like, there's a level of trust I can have with this person because they don't have to do that, but for the fact that they're doing it shows me that they put in the effort. The other thing I would say, and it's a small thing, is to be early to these Zoom meetings, because there'll be a meeting at like 3:30, and whoever is hosting the meeting may open it a few minutes early, and then of course everyone starts trickling in. Still be that first person, just as you would be in the in-person meeting. Be the first person always to your virtual meetings.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
things that make people say, okay, this is a person that I can trust. Ask questions. Always have questions. Find a reason to ask a question. Even if it's a meeting with higher ups, a lot of times we get intimidated, right? With people that are like 3-4 levels above our position.
Oh
Find
yeah.
a way
Yeah.
to ask questions. Yeah, because that puts attention on you. People remember you for things. So when it comes to new projects or it comes to promotions, you want to stay on people's minds by
Right.
having a voice. Again, being respectful, right? Especially if it's not a meeting that you're leading, but it gives you a voice, and it gives people a face to the voice. And then your energy, to be lively, to smile and be, because I mean, I get it, this is an interesting time, and that's the
Yeah. And the word,
safest way I could put that.
yeah, no, in the words of Drake, what a time to be alive.
What is that, right? What a time to be alive. But if you can showing positivity gives people comfort
Yeah.
about things and
Yeah.
confidence. So if you can make sure to exude that, even in simple meetings, even in your email, showing us positivity when the world is literally falling apart,
You legit.
legit,
Yes.
then again it just plants seeds in people's minds about you.
Yeah.
Just with those couple of little tips.
Yeah, no, I really love that. And again, I'm a huge, like I said, you can know my 1, 2, and 3 areas that I think is important for us to speak up. And for my 1, 2, and 3, we need to do that. So for one, just as a woman, 2, as a woman of color, and
Yes,
you know
so true.
and 3, just as a human, like, you know what I mean, like, what, well, I said in the wrong order, but you know what I'm saying, like
I
those.
knew what you mean.
Yeah, those are the 3 things, like as a human, as a woman, and as a woman of color. And I think it's very important that we speak up. We show up with, I love that you said, like, with your shirt on. You know what I will do, like, I will do my hair. I actually have my hair done in a certain way, so that way if I have to do like a video conference, I'm ready. And like, no matter what,
Exactly.
my hair is ready. So if I have to last minute get up, put on a cute shirt, I'm ready to go. I got my setup. But it's important that we do those things, and it is very, very much important that we speak up. I love what you're doing, Davina. I think that it's very helpful. Could you
Thank
let everybody
you.
know where they can get, your services, ask you questions? I mean, somebody's looking to make their exit and start a new career. I mean, that's a tough one. But so that they can find
Yeah.
you, you can help them with that.
Absolutely. And I encourage people now, even in COVID, still look for your ideal career. It's COVID does not stop what you have to offer a company, because you can make their lives easier.
Yeah.
So my website is upwardlypavedpath.com. And that's where I have, again, blog posts from a career standpoint, from a personal development standpoint, because that matters,
Yes.
right? For you to be successful in your career.
Yeah.
And from a spiritual standpoint, because I think they all go hand in hand in order for you to be successful and to maintain being successful. And there you can learn about my signature program, which is the 90-day career fix. And really, statistically, it takes 6 months for people to find a new job. So this helps people to do it in half the time.
Love it.
And we go through 4 phases of self-discovery. Then we go through career matching, and I'm a marketer. So we have a whole 2 weeks on how to craft your brand and then how to present it. And then the last 2 weeks are dedicated to job search. Then we go over your resume, we do mock interviewing. It is everything you need from start to finish to make the best career transition that you possibly can so that you continue to have, when I say success, I don't just mean like financial or recognition, but joy that comes with your work that you do every day.
Right. Yeah.
And then, of course, Facebook, I'm at Upwardly Paved Path, Instagram, Twitter, and then on YouTube, I have some videos there just for people that are like, I'm just starting this. I don't even know what this means.
Mhm.
So I have some YouTube videos there that folks can check out just to even get a grounding on the process as a whole.
Yeah. Well, and and I meant to ask you this, so I'm gonna have to go to it now. When you're talking about people with new careers, like you said, like I'm just starting this, what do I do? What if, like, let's say you're going from one extreme to the other career wise? Um, do you have any advice? Like, what do you do to like make that transition? Especially as far as your resume. I mean, you talked about resumes too. So,
Mhm.
like, your resume is gonna have very little, if anything at all, for that new career. Like, what do you do?
Focus on the transferable skills. And
Okay.
some of them may be more of your soft skills as
Mm.
opposed to your hard skills.
Okay.
So if it's your interpersonal skills, if it is your organization, your leadership, any sector or organization would need that, no
Okay.
matter what the functionality of what you do is.
Okay.
Or if companies might, especially right now with so much change, and they need someone to
Yeah.
come in that can just like pick up and hit the ground running.
Right.
So that's something that you would highlight in that case. And then, of course, your passion for whatever career you're switching to, and what you have to find what would be relevant. So researching the industry is super important as well. So the transferable skills and industry research so that you can speak that language, so you can be aware of what they're looking for, and so you can position yourself from a marketing and branding expert to still show that you would be a golden nugget to their company.
Right. 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 That makes so much sense. Yeah. And that's hard. And you know what? It's hard and it takes a lot of time. So I want to encourage
Yes.
everybody, like, no, you have to like look at all your job experiences. You have to redo your resume. You have to like shift it. I mean, I've done it. So I know what it's like, but would I be correct in saying that you kind of have to like restructure your resume to make sure that it shows those things for that new career?
Completely.
Okay. Yeah.
Completely. And I know that can feel like a daunting task, but this is why I created this program, because some people never get started because they don't want to do that, all of that stuff,
Right.
which it can be overwhelming for some. But again, shortcut. There is somebody out here to be your shortcut in this situation.
Oh, that somebody is you, honey, Miss Davina Ware.
Right.
Davina, where is that shortcut? I want to thank you so much. I mean, I could talk. I mean, you've got so many great tips. I could talk to you forever. So you're gonna have to come back, unfortunately for you,
Yes,
but
please.
fortunately for me.
Please. I cannot wait.
Yes, so we'll have to have you come back. Good. That's what I was like. Unfortunate for you, but fortunate for me. Okay. You're reeled in, honey. You have to come back, and I can't wait for it. And I'm glad you're excited too. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Of course, this has been an awesome conversation.
Thanks again for listening to the Be a Force podcast, brought to you by B Squared Management. I'm your host, Melissa Lopez, and until next time, be a force.